So I figured I never done gone in live before, and I figured since it's my 5 year anniversary from when I died on 11/6/2020, I would share a little memory that I have, something that's very fond to me. It was one of my first vacations, actually. It was paid for by my grandpappy. Um, I went into Honolulu, Hawaii, and visited my uncle, who was stationed. He's in the military, and he was stationed in Honolulu, and that was it was great. I loved it there until I got my trip got cut off a little bit short, and I ended up in Tripler Hospital with third-degree burns. But I'll get into that. But anyway, while I was there, um, one of the first things we did is we went to the Polynesian Magic Show at Hawaii in Waikiki Beach, off of Waikiki Beach at the Waikiki Hotel. And then after that, my friend, his uncle, or my friend, or my uncle, his friend was he was an anesthesiologist, and he was rich, and he lived in the Waikiki Inn Hotel. And so we were invited to go to dinner with him and his friend's family. And so we were like, okay. So my uncle was like, okay, we got to get our Sunday best on. We can't just be dressed like, but we got to dress to impress because we're going to eat with the best of the best. And I said, okay, you know. So we got all dressed up for this like 5 star dive bar. Supposed to be a 5 star hotel or whatever. I forgot the name of the place, but they serve like the best of the best food and everything. And they serve, they when they come out, they put all your silverware utensils out. You got a hors d'oeuvre fork, and you got your salad fork and your dinner fork and your dessert fork and all that stuff. And you can't put your elbows on the table, that kind of place. But anyway, we got there. They brought the menu to us, and we started looking through it. And well, I started looking through it, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, I couldn't even read this shit. I said, this is crazy. This is fucking crazy. So I decided not to. I was like, I just put the menu down. I didn't know what the fuck it was, and then my uncle couldn't read the shit either. And so he just told his friend, we'll just get what y'all are gonna get. That's fine, that'll work. And so he ordered all this food. They brought out our hors d'oeuvres and like our salad and everything. And I ate that, and my uncle ate that, and my sister ate that. But then, all these dishes came out in different entrees and everything. And then they brought out the dinner, and the dinner was actually live octopus. It was live. It was alive, breathing and everything. I was like, oh my God. And then what they did is this live octopus, they brought over like some hot broth, boiling hot broth water, and poured it over the octopus, and it killed it. And then you're supposed to eat it. I was like, what the fuck? I couldn't even eat the shit. I was like, hell no. My sister didn't touch hers either. And my uncle didn't even, I know he didn't even want to eat it, but he did anyway because he wanted to make sure that everything was on the up and up with his friend. He didn't want to make his friend feel like shit because he was rich and everything. And so he ate, they went got in my uncle's like piece of shit Maserati. We were driving down Waikiki Beach, literally right across from the Waikiki Beach there on the strip, on our way back to his place. And my uncle opened up the door and projectile vomited, like literally threw up all of his dinner right in front of everybody. Everybody was out there kicking it on the strip. It was crazy. But everybody was like, yeah, and because he was just vomiting profusely. It was so funny. And then and he shuts his door, gets back in the car, and he's like, anybody want some Magoo's pizza? And I'm like, yeah. So we went and got Magoo's pizza, and we got up to Magoo's at Waikiki Beach, and the guy's Pizza Hut, this little Pizza Hut, it's actually a real Pizza Hut. You know what I'm saying? So I told him, he's like, what kind of pizza you want? And I go, oh, I want a Hawaiian pizza. The guy looked at me all weird. He's like, what the fuck? He was like, I don't know what a Hawaiian pizza is. And my uncle steps in really quick, and he's like, oh, she's not from here. She's from Spokane, Washington. And she's like, she wants a Canadian bacon pineapple pizza. so like, oh, okay, well, we can make that, no problem. And he's like, well, we don't have a Hawaiian pizza here, and I'm in Hawaii, right? And so anyway, we got our pizza. We went home, and then the next day, we went out on my uncle's best good friend's yacht, and I got to swim with the dolphins and everything. We went out in the deep waters, and that shit was great. But about the trip to Hawaii was I got to swim at Waikiki Beach, actually, but my favorite spot down there is called Hanama Bay. You get to swim with the fish, the tropical fish and everything, and they'll eat the food right out of your hand. It's so cool. It's so peaceful and serene down there. And then they got the actual, it's like the toilet there. So you take a little hike around the bay or whatever, and they got this toilet that flushes literally, and it flushes you out into the sea. And so I didn't jump in or anything. So my uncle's like, "No, you're not going in. You're only 13. I'm not going to be responsible for you." So of course I didn't jump in, and then but we got to do that, feed the fish and everything with the tropical fish and everything, and I got to get to see the eels and everything, and then I got to swim with the dolphins, and then the next following day, we or one of those days or whatever, we went and climbed Diamond Head. That's where my trip ended early because we were supposed to be there for 3 full months. That's what my grandpappy paid for. Because he wanted me and my sister to have a good time and vacation and everything. But it ended early for me, and because I we ended up climbing Diamond Head Mountain there, and I forgot my sunblock, so I burned to the third degree. I have bubbles, bubbles bleeding and everything the next morning. It was awful when I took a shower. Oh my god, it was so bad. It landed me at Tripler Hospital in Seattle. It was so bad, and the worst part about that though was like the day I got the burn, or the next morning. It was actually when I was on the flight back, the one-way flight from Honolulu to SeaTac Airport, and I was a stewardess came by and she was passing out food and drinks to everybody, and she came up to me and she's like, "Well, what would you like to drink, or what kind of soda do you want, or whatever?" And I told her, and she went to pass it to me. She didn't realize the burns on my arms and everything, and I had them unwrapped at the time so I could breathe, and they just had cream on them. Well, she accidentally dripped some ice water on my arm, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Grabbed a paper towel and wiped it off my arm, and my skin came off, and I swear to God, I was screaming. I was like, "Ah!" And that's what landed me. Of course, we were over the sea, so there was nowhere to go, and they weren't. The stewardess was like, went to go check with the captain of what we should do if we turn the plane around or whatever. And I'm like, "No, they asked me how I felt, and I said, I'm fine, just just keep them on there tight so it stops the bleeding or whatever." And then when I got back to Seattle, SeaTac Airport, I was driven by taxi cab, Tripler Hospital, the burn hospital burn unit, and but yeah, I just figured I would share that memory that I have back when I was 13 of that trip. I want to go back to I want to go back to Hawaii. That place is lit. I tell you what. But anyway, I just wanted to share that story. I've been reminiscing about that, looking through some pictures and everything. Swimming with the dolphins is great down there. I love it. I love to swim. Catch y'all later.